This is Myra Bean from South Panola is my alma mater, and we're here to speak to some of the coaches and the players who've played in the '93 uh, through the 2001 South Panola football teams that had about 4 or 5 trips to the state championship during that time. I want to recognize Dexter Chapman as the videographer for these interviews. He's a longtime South Panola fan, probably could be considered one of the top fans for South Panola as people enjoy his videos and photography throughout the season. First off, we have here is Coach Willis Wright, legendary Coach Willis Wright, who came to South Panola in 1991, was here through '93. Coach, as we sit out here looking at this field, this track, this artificial turf, this expanded stadium, I remembered a picture that we had, I think, in the Panolian at that time of it was just, there was no track, there was this old fence. I don't know, do you remember
I remember
that?
well, I sure do.
Coach, when you tell us about the hard work that the players had to cope with, the coaches had to cope with. Technology is totally different today than it was back then.
It sure is. I'd always used tape, so we used tape pretty extensively even when I first came here. But things have radically changed. I remember carrying those pipes around the field to get some water on the grass and this kind of thing. I'm looking at an artificial turf out here now, and there's been some dramatic changes, some great changes have taken place since I came to South Panola. And that's a tribute to the coaches, administrators, and townspeople that have gotten behind the program.
Yeah. Go back and tell us your history of coming to South Panola.
Well, I'd been and rode hard and put up wet several times before I got here.
Okay.
So I came in the spring, gonna have spring training. I think we had like 50-something guys came out, and it dwindled every day. I think by the end of about 2 weeks, I think we had about 20 or something like that. And then they didn't come and couldn't get them in to work out much. They weren't used to working out in the summer. And I remember, so we'll get up a hamburger and a hot dog eating. I said, they'll come to that. And I think we had 8 or 9 guys that came to that. I was beginning to sweat it at that point.
Really? Yeah.
But they came on in that first group, 91 group, they had a great attitude. They worked. I think we wound up 5-5, I believe.
Something like that.
And we should. I felt like we should have won 2 or 3 more ball games, but we didn't. It is what it is, you know. But the kids had wonderful attitude. I remember Edward Freeman, Chris McMahon, Kenneth Henderson, Jeffrey Ellis was a great player. I remember him being a great player. Anthony Spears, I can remember some of those guys. They had wonderful attitudes, and to kind of get you. So it just takes a while to get a system in, get players acclimated, and we did that. We were able to get that done in about a 3-year period of time. I was sick to death with that '93 bump.
Yeah, you were tired by the time '93 came
Right,
around.
I was tired. I guarantee you.
And so you named some of your players on that first team. When you got them to come back, what was your approach? Or your game
we wanted to be encouraging and positive, and we wanted to try to keep it as simple as possible. We wanted to kind of focus on blocking and tackling and playing hard and having good effort, that kind of thing. And we didn't do anything real special or anything. We just concentrated on fundamentals, and they had good attitudes, and we just started building from there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in 1992, y'all went 10-2. I think you went to the playoffs that year. Was your game plan any different that year than the first year, or what was the
It was
difference?
not a lot different. They became more familiar with what we were doing offensively and defensively. Familiarity was better, and we had a really good ninth grade team in the first game, and we had some really good players that assimilated into the program.
Okay.
We had some great players. A lot of them went on and played college ball, and some of them should have played college ball, and didn't. But we had just probably had a little bit more overall talent, but we wasn't anything we did radically different. Just
Okay.
they're similar, getting used to the program.
The 1993 team, that's one of the unforgettable state championships that South Panola played. It was our first state championship. Kind of take us through that season where the team went 15-0 and brought home the championship.
We were the first team at 5A at that time to go 15-0, and we probably won before we really had the program set like we wanted it. We were starting a strength program, getting it going kind of like we wanted, but we had a collection of great athletes. We had so many good players. I think the big thing we had to do was make sure they all got on the bus rather than coaching them so much. So it was just a collection of great players, and they wanted to win. They had won in junior high, and they wanted to win. And the program was we were doing some of the same things, and familiarity was greater. But what a collection of athletes! One of the best teams I've ever coached in my life. Now I've coached on some good teams, South with some good teams, but that's up there right at the top. Great players and just a wonderful, fun year.
Yeah. Well, talk about a couple of your leaders. Shay Townsend's leadership of the team. What kind of leader was he? And was he a vocal leader or more of a?
He just had so much athletic ability. He probably could. He was a great baseball player, a great point guard on the basketball. He's just a super overall athlete. He was not overly vocal, but he he led more with his ability, and he was more of a quiet type leader.
Okay.
And he led with his ability and the effort that he put forth.
Okay. So he didn't have.
He wasn't a rah guy, but he was a great player, and when he did say something, the players listened to him. And,
Okay, good.
A great leader.
Okay. Then another one that went to the NFL was Dwayne Rudd on defense. What did you do to? I almost couldn't even finish the sentence. What did you depend on him to do to keep the defense? In strategy, the strategy for
he
defense.
We had him right in the middle of the defense, and he could put a mean look on you, and he was an intimidating force in the middle, and he had everybody wanted him. I remember Tennessee and Alabama, all the major SEC schools came through, and they were all interested in him because he was so big and fast, and he just had everything you look for in a defensive talent. And he was, I think he scared people more than anything else when he lined up in the middle. He was a big, intimidating force, and of course a great player. Went on and played college ball at Alabama, and went on and played in the NFL, and just a super player and a great leader. He was a great. We had several great leaders on that team.
Yeah.
Dwayne was one of them.
Yeah, it sure was. You were talking about your strength program. Would you talk about Coach Danny Ray Cole, what he meant to you personally and to the South Panola program?
Hard for me to put it in words. Danny Ray is one of my favorite coaches that I've ever coached with in my life anywhere. I loved his demeanor, and somebody that you go out there, and sometimes you can get pretty serious. You can take it too serious. Danny Ray and I had a wonderful relationship. We could get over there and start cutting up and joking, and I think we could break the tension pretty good. We had a wonderful relationship. One of my favorite coaches I've ever coached with. I gave him his first job. He'd always tell me, I gave him his first job here at South. He was very appreciative, and I was appreciative of him. What he did with our program, I thought he helped bring the chemistry together of the team, and he was invaluable. And fun and enjoyable to be around, and just a wonderful person. And one of my most enjoyable coaches I've ever coached with.
Right. Thank you so much for saying that. When I introduced you as a legendary, do you see yourself as a legend?
No, I'm just a coach. I'm just a coach that ran into some good. Now, I always believe in coaching fundamentals, blocking and tackling,
Okay.
and this kind of thing. But no, I ran into I ran into a lot of good players over the years,
Okay.
and no, I don't. I don't buy that stuff. I worked hard. I worked hard at it, and I was very intense, and I put a lot of life's blood in it. But I just old coaching like all these other coaches. I think I ran into better players than some of them.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Um, Now, what do you think was your key to success with coaching the teams?
Ah,
I have probably asked you that in the
well,
past.
I don't know the different things. We demanded a lot of, but I think caring about your players. I think you got to care about them.
Oh, okay.
If you care about your players, they're gonna care about you, and loving them and caring about them. And I would, if they needed something, I would try to get it for them. I try to do, or try to help them in any way that I could, and I think they realize that and appreciate it. But I think loving the players and caring for them, I think that's a key in any coach in any sport.
Okay.
Caring for
Okay.
your players.
You came here from Starville. I don't know where you were your first, but from here, then you went to North Delta, went to Northwest. I think you finished at Starville. Did any of your approaches change from school to school, or?
Oh, well, I've coached in large schools. I didn't have to come here from Starville. I went from Starville to Greenville, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I coached
okay.
in Greenville, and then I came back to Nettleton. Principal at Nettleton, I said, "What's Coach? What are you doing in Nettleton?" Principal told me he's trying to get as far away from football as he can. So from
No, it did. He really.
from,
He
from
sold you out, didn't he?
From Nettleton, I came to South.
Okay. Okay. So did you? Was your approach different from any of
Uh,
them?
No, I try to have a good motivation plan, and I always try to care for the players, and I try to require them to work, because you got to be able to block, tackle, and you got to be willing to work. And I always ask them, want them to work, and it never radically changed. The larger schools, you could play guys on offense and defense. Some of the smaller schools had to play guys both ways. So there were some differences there, but as a general rule, after I figured out how to coach, it took me a while to figure out how to coach. I screwed over a lot of youngins before I figured it out, but if I figured it out, I tried to help them, and so it didn't radically change.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
Delta State.
Delta State. Okay. All right. As we look around at the amount of money that's spent on high school football in today's world, do you have any advice for players and coaches that you've used that's timeless, no matter what technology brings?
Well, I'm a big believer in watching tape and watching and coaching the players from the tape, because the big eye don't lie. They say that, and I think you can do a really good job of coaching them by watching tape and pointing out their mistakes. And I have been guilty of using some peer pressure on them every now and then. I think if somebody really messed up, I said, well, look at that, and we can get some peer pressure going pretty quick. We did it pretty good here at South Panola.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Jamarcus Sanford.
Oh, okay.
And in that regard, because he could, if you didn't do your job, he could work on it. He could make it hard on you. But I wish, looking back on it, I wish I'd